presented by Caltech.
So, in theater arts, we offer students and the entire Caltech community opportunities to perform in shows, write their own plays, learn all the tech aspects that they want, to participate in our 4th annual Festival of New Science-Driven Plays, improvisation classes, play-going, and our Storytelling for Scientists class, now in its 3rd year at Caltech, that I'm so happy about. And tonight, I want you to give a nice warm round of applause for one of our Storytelling for Scientists from our new class. Her name is Blanca Yang, class of 2019. Give it up for her.
I have a fascination with uncertainty. I suspect that my fascination stems from the bag of uncertainty that has been my life. After almost 19 years of existence, I still don't know what I want to do, how I want to change the world, let alone what I want to major in. The one thing that has remained certain is that I'm in love with uncertainty. Uncertainty is that untamable property of our universe that defines our existence. It is the untamable property that defines our financial markets, our diseases, our social interactions, and our progress. Uncertainty is the underpinning of good science, of innovation. In fact, uncertainty is our friend. Peter Thiel, one of the early investors in Facebook, laments, "We wanted flying cars. Instead, we got 140 characters." What he's talking about is how we have shifted from backing truly transformative technologies like the space race and the computer to backing incremental technologies like underpowered hybrid cars and expedient travel. He is lamenting the lack of robotic companions and colonies on Mars and teleportation devices. Where has our desire gone to create the next generation of technology, to challenge existing paradigms about the human experience? Have all our dreams been transformed into variations on big data? This is truly disappointing. Where have all the kids who asked why gone? Who did they grow up to be? Why have we lost our love for uncertainty and fallen into the trap that is risk aversion and risk avoidance? Why have we stopped searching for those points on the boundary between the known and the unknown, between the certain and the uncertain, where we can make a difference? Why have we stopped trying to change the world? Why? Over 50 years ago, science fiction writers dreamed up technologies like warp speed travel and the shrink ray and the DeLorean. They were applauded for thinking big, for pushing forward the next generation of ideas that would transform humanity. Why haven't we been able to realize their dreams? Now, I don't mean to bash good companies like Google and Amazon and Facebook, because they've solved significant technological challenges. But I'm looking for the next big thing. I'm looking for the next big thing that will transform the way we get our food and the way we get ourselves places and the way we get our energy and the way we survive. Because our survival is dependent on us embracing the uncertainty that is written into the laws that govern our universe. You never know what the future will hold because it's up to you to create it. Thank you.
Let us move to our second storyteller. He is the class of 2019 as well. His name is Akshay Srivastana. Give it up for Akshay.
I think that most people would consider a passion for science to be a terminal illness. That is, most people think that at some point in the young archetypal scientist's life, They're seized by this passion for science, this urge to explore the unknown for the betterment of humanity. The disease then subsequently drives them insane, forcing them to do nonsensical things every day like research for long hours, until eventually they die happily at their fume hoods, holding a test tube and looking at a molecule that happens to be named after them. I'm allowed to make jokes like that, by the way, because I go to Caltech. But really, for once, most people actually got something right. People that have a passion for science do crazy things. They commit their lives to something that only a few people will ever be able to appreciate, just because they know that the many will ultimately benefit from it. But what most people got wrong is that a passion for science is not something developed spontaneously, and I can personally attest to that. You see, before I got to Caltech, I was never really interested in science. I wasn't one of those kids that read nature papers for fun every Sunday and cured cancer in middle school. No, I had a platonic relationship with the subject. I learned my stuff, took my AP tests, and competed in my fair share of science fairs, but I never really cared about any of that. I didn't have a passion for science. No, what I actually cared about were people. And I loved everything about people, even the people that I hated. I loved talking to them, interacting with them, listening to them tell me what they had to say, and observing how they acted. I would watch movies just to see the types of people that other types of people can imagine. I had a slight people obsession. Eventually, I became so fascinated with people that I wanted to understand them. So I started studying psychology, and I read everything I could on the subject. I tore through chapters on cognition. I read books on perception and papers on abnormal disorder. I was that one kid that knew when DSM-5 came out in high school. And eventually, psychology wasn't even enough for me. I wanted to understand where it all came from, how thoughts worked and stuff like that. So I started studying neuroscience. For those of you who don't know, neuroscience is a very background-heavy subject. So I had to force myself through a lot of classes on chemistry and biology and math. And along the way, I got a little lost. You see, when you do something with a purpose, it has meaning to you. And all of a sudden, science had meaning to me because it was a different way of looking at people. And I started to love it all, to love chemistry, to love math, to love biology, because it all had meaning to me. But I wasn't quite there. The dark illness as a passion for science had failed to metastasize beyond my academic career. I still had some semblance of a life. I still watched movies, talked to people, went places, did things. I still had a life. Science hadn't consumed me yet. And then I found out what economics was, and it was really, really awful because I really, really liked it. See, somebody stood in front of a room and looked at me and told me that there was a subject that combined everything I loved about my academic career, the psychology, the math, and combined it with everything else that was important in my life, the people, and then told me that I could make money off of it. And unfortunately, that is where my story ends, because that marks the time when I stopped having a life and started studying science. Thank you.
Last February, we premiered Boldly Go, a musical parody based on Star Trek, written by G4 in theoretical physics, Grant Remmen, and his brother Cole Remmen. It turned out to be the most popular show in the Institute's history, with over 2,000 people attending 7 performances. Tonight we will be performing a few songs for all of you, starting with Captain's Log, in which Captain Kirk, much to his surprise, has failed to impress the lovely Carol Marcus.
Oh, yes.
You want to explain any of that? I mean...
Well, Brian, it's like no matter what I do, she seems more interested in the impending threat of an all-out war between the two most powerful nations in the galaxy. I mean, what about me? Huh? Aren't I just as important? Captain's log. Personal entry. Carol, why do you ignore me? Tell me, what did I do wrong to merit your indifference while my heartache you prolong? Why can't you see a better catch? You won't find any place than this valiant starship captain boldly venturing through space. You don't know what you're missing, 'cause I know I'm pretty rare. How many guys can sail the stars with perfect wavy hair? I'm the youngest starship captain, I'm the best spaceman on Earth. But you never realized what you had, you never saw my worth. As great as I know I am, can't help but second guess. 'Cause though I seem invincible, my heart is in distress. Your words aren't gonna hurt me via subspace telegram. I just have to remember I'm as great as I know I am. I can still recall the day, the very hour that we met at Starfleet in the springtime with the sun about to set. You always were a smart one, always buried in your work. You never seemed to have the time for me, you're dashing Kirk. So Carol, take a look now, see the man you're letting go. Don't leave my love so lightly, 'cause I doubt you'll ever know a guy on planet Earth or in this great big galaxy who cares as much as I do, or who's anything like me. As great as I know I am, can't help but second guess. 'Cause though I seem invincible, my heart is in distress. Your words aren't gonna hurt me via subspace telegram. I just have to remember I'm as great as I know I am.
Now, as all of you, most of you know, that Star Trek and Boldly Go followed the exploits of the Starship Enterprise, the flagship of the United Federation of Planets. But what is the United Federation of Planets?
Well, Brian, I'll tell you about it the only way I know how. By singing. The United Federation of Planets, a beacon in the night. May thy worlds ever turn, may thy suns ever burn with liberty and light. 'Cause we stand for truth and justice.
We stand
with knowledge, we're obsessed. It's the Alpha Quadrant enlightenment. We're pretty much the best of capitalist economics. No new currency. Nobody sure quite how that all works, but hey, it works for me. The United Federation of sci-fi fantasy, a utopia among the stars, as real as you and me. The United Federation of Planets, we pledge to stand with thee. Thy banner unfurled o'er 1,000 worlds.
We turn now to a scene with Dr. McCoy, the medical officer, cautioning the captain against some rather dangerous decisions that he has made. A course of action that was very dangerous. Now, you might recognize that iconic phrase, familiar to all fans of Star Trek. Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor.
Now, Bones, are you sure you're not letting your sometimes overly cautious emotions affect your recommendation?
Why, Jim, I'm merely being realistic. Are you accusing me of forming a medical opinion based purely on whimsy rather than fact? I'm a doctor, not a charlatan.
Come on now, Bones, you know.
Damn it, Jim! I am not the captain of this starship or its science officer. I'm not an astrophysicist or antimatter connoisseur. I don't get warp drive physics or transporter compensators. And I'm not a subspace monitor or alien translator. No, I'm not a random redshirt or security tactician. And I'm not a helmsman or lieutenant, but as the physician of this starship, it's my duty to alert you to the danger the radiation up ahead could make for a game changer. Jim, you know I'm not an engineer, a muchacho conductor, not a botanist, historian, or memory chip inductor, and I'm not an escalator or a doorstop or a battery. And good thing you don't compliment, cause I'm immune to flattery. You know I'm just a doctor, not a Viking, nor a saint. Jim, you know I can't work miracles, Hippocrates I ain't. I will answer questions medical from any interlocutor through and through to my bones. Damn it, Jim, I am a doctor. Yes, for I can cure a Klingon cold and vaccinate a Vulcan. I can battle Earth bacteria from Bismarck to the Balkans. I've earned the trust of Tellarites for tricky tonsillectomy. I've even given an Andorian an appendectomy. And once I had occasion to prescribe a Gorn and enema, my exploits with the latter being worthy of the cinema. For training I interned with Dr. Fox, a great denobulan, who taught me to distinguish albumin from pseudoglobulin. And while Spock thinks I'm illogical, I think he's too naive. Though I'm a doctor, not a diplomat or spy, I do believe that Klingon treachery's behind this, and we could be in grave peril. I just wish that Jim would see it, or at least just talk with Carol, cause the radiation threat is here before our very eyes. So Captain, you must now decide what fate awaits the Enterprise. It's my job to tend the wounded, to repair, rebuild, and heal, and so it's to your better judgment I've been trying to appeal. No, Jim, I am not a charlatan, witch doctor, or decoy, but I'm a genuine physician, yes, sir, I'm the real McCoy. I've got 3 degrees in medicine, cosmic and terrestrial, and I can diagnose diseases common and celestial. For as a fount of knowledge, I'm a veritable oracle, frequently provided by some phrases metaphorical, to answer questions medical from any interlocutor through and through to my bones. Damn it, Jim, I am a doctor.
Warp speed!
I am not the captain of the starship or its science officer. I'm not an astrophysicist or antimatter connoisseur. I don't get warped by physics or force order compensator. I don't have subspecies monitor or alien translator. I'm not a random redshirt or security tactician, and I'm not a helmsman or lieutenant, but it's the physician of the starship. It's my duty to alert you to the danger the radiation up ahead could make for a game changer. No, Jim, I am not an engineer or moonshot conductor, not a botanist, historian, or memory chip inductor, and I'm not an escalator or a doorstop or a battery. Good thing you don't compliment, cause I'm immune to flattery. No, I'm just a doctor, not a Viking nor a saint. Jim, you know I can work miracles, Hippocrates I ain't. I will answer questions medical from any interlocutor through and through to my budget. Damn it, Jim, I am a doctor. Damn it, Jim, I am a doctor.